Hey guys, how you doing? Happy Wednesday to you. Um, it's so odd to shift from a portal like, this wild lit Aries season into Taurus season. Wanted to check in with everyone, see what's going on, chit chat, coffee, favorite coffee mug. It's a rainy morning. It's a rainy it's a rainy Wednesday, you know. It is been kind of a busy bee, ever as always, and lots of gratitude for that, of course. It's joyful and it is contentment, to get to create and do the things and be busy with them. Serve people, be busy with one-on-one work, doing the things, right? But I want to make time, and I'm always like, I want to post more videos throughout the week, but we'll let it unfold as it may. Excited to be channeling Taurus energy, to be channeling lots of earth, lots of beauty, Venusian, all the things. Preparing for a private sales event with candles and all the good stuff, all the magical, beautiful gifts that I'm so glad that I'm entrusted with, by Gaia and by the spirits of the earth. And so I'm busy preparing for that, making beautiful candles. Of course, you know where to find me on Instagram and all the lovely socials and my website if you're curious what I'm up to and what I'm creating. But yeah, it's good. So we find ourselves in quite an interesting energy, and I think it's really how you choose to embrace it. I mean, as is any energy, right? It's your perspective and how you work with it. Love to check in and talk astrology and see what the tarot wants to say to us through our guides, our higher self, our ancestors and spirit. But yeah, I always remind you that checking in on the collective energy is like checking the weather when you check astrology. Just because you hear it's raining, you're not going to cancel all your plans, but you're well advised on what to expect, how to react, and how to orient yourself. It's very interesting times when we're in the age of Aquarius, when we are in Pluto ingress into Aquarius. Mind you, Pluto's only going to spend a little bit of time here, I think up until like July. And then really, into 2024 and then on out for a much longer period of time. But nonetheless, it's still interesting. And this is a crucial pocket of energy that we're in. We entered into the spring equinox, with lots of Aries. Aries came in, and then Aries brought everybody and their mama into Aries with them. So it was quite the portal of rebirth. And ASMR of me swallowing coffee. Sorry if that's not your thing. I personally enjoy it, but, to each their own. I don't mean I do enjoy the coffee, but ASMR, I'll try not to like gulp my coffee right in your ear. But if that is stimulating to you, then you're welcome. Yeah, it's very interesting, toward the energy that took us into Gaia's wheel of the year, the new year, on through the spring equinox, huge rebirth, and then forward moving us on into our eclipse season. We had the first moon cycle, that opened up in Aries, and then carrying us into our eclipse season, opening with a big, rare hybrid solar eclipse, also in Aries, on the new moon of Aries. We called that our black moon. So I was feeling and channeling and creating through and just experiencing this portal of huge activations. And it's quite fascinating because as we are still in the solar eclipse portal, they sit like bookends. We open our portal and we have our solar eclipse, and then we work through to our lunar eclipse, which I think this time will be partial, and I think it will occur in Scorpio. So we are in that interesting pocket. Think of it again, imagine it like bookends, right? So, and then what we do is we transition. Mercury is now retrograde. We had this big expansive time with so much energy in Aries, and lots of big personal planet hitters in Aries. And we had all planets moving in forward direct motion. And there was this tone, there was this energetic tone in the tarot and the collective and the cards and astrology. You know, you kind of flipping through your Akashic books, right? You're feeling the tone. And it was very much receiving activations, forward motion, plant the new seeds, understand the momentum, get yourself oriented in what you are expanding on. Yes, of course, Jupiter will stay in Aries until May. I don't have the exact date in front of me, but so we do still kind of have our big benefactor, our expansion, blessing, abundance, you know, wisdom and growth, sitting in the seat of Aries. But yeah, we had all those planets direct, and now we have Mercury going into retrograde. But this, again, depending on how you see it, how you feel it, we're all very energetically unique. You know, we all have our own book of Akashics and our energy and our own natal chart, you know, and so, of course, we all feel it differently. But I think Taurus season, the transition, especially in this pocket, and you can refer to the last one or two. I think it was the last one, the last collective tarot I did, where we kind of talked about the rarity of the solar eclipse and the massive energetic power. I mean, oh my gosh, we could have a whole nother video right now on solar flares and activity. And, you know, if you really study it, just the amplification more and more, you know, 2 years ago, 5 years ago versus a decade ago, at the magnitude and the frequency that is just amping up with solar flares. And so we have all this energy hitting us, right? You kind of get it. And then we hit Taurus season. Mercury is now retrograde in Taurus. It's definitely, I feel like, you know, we're definitely, it's kind of like you feel like, it's like you're gearing down. Whoa, we're gearing down. You know, it's like, is it trying to downshift, Clay? Don't crack the gears. And so it's kind of this feeling of the momentum is not essentially stopping. It is almost, and this is very fascinating to sit with this and think to yourself. Because Saturn is in Pisces, you know, and Saturn being our big boss daddy, our gatekeeper, you know, classical daddy of the sky, right? Law, maturity. Hey, you're in bounds or you're out of bounds. And, you know, also Mars being in Cancer, Mars, these big Saturn, Mars, these, I don't want to call them deficit planets, but we have these big divine masculine energy points that are in deep water signs. We would actually call Mars out of bounds right now. You know, Mars is in Cancer, and so it's an interesting energy coming out of such a high-powered, all signs go, let's jump off the cliff. We're definitely in our Fool spirit, you know. And then it's almost like, this is how I see it, right? With the wheel, I'm incorporating a lot of the wheel tarot card and the Fool tarot card into some of the candles that I'm working on, and what I'm channeling. And the one previous to that, I did this small batch in a different time where a lot of these candles, a lot of these oils, the plant spirits and the things that I was working with was really centered around bringing activations down through your crown chakra. You know, and it's very interesting, because now, okay, Saturn in Pisces is like the bounds of the multiverse, you know, all possible potential realities, illusion, inspiration. You think Seven of Cups, you know, all of the things that could be possible and what I can do with it, and me kind of romancing the magic of this idea. We'd have to unpack a lot for me to really explain to you, you know, in a quantum way, in a science way, in these different ways, how we have access to so many potential timelines right now, and we can do, as people like to say in quantums and in energetics and spirituality, we can timeline shift, we can timeline jump. So it's very fascinating to switch. I guess we're just going to coffee talk for a minute. My ride or die, my trusty rider, he's going to chill out for a minute. He's been busy. I've been doing, natal one-on-one work, tarot readings and stuff. So he said, give me a minute. But here's what is fascinating. And look, I'm an aesthetics person. I mean, it's Taurus, it's Venusian. I hate to block the vibes. We got my Willow. This is Polly. She's new. We got the vibes, I hate to put, it makes me cringe when I put my coffee cup in front of it. I mean, it is an Aquarius coffee cup, but here is the visual that I'm getting from Spirit and with my higher self and meditation and these things. Is much like the wheel is moving, and we're bringing down these activations, and we'll talk about activations in a minute, but coming down through the crown, empowerment, removing blockages and clearings. We're having growth, not only in our crown chakra, but also in our solar plexus. I am that I am. Our third eye is also in a very interesting place energetically with Saturn and Pisces. We are still very much working with amplification of energy, of magic, of spirit moving through water. And there's a lot of interesting conversations about that in spiritual astrology, quantum physics, and a lot of these communities. But it's it can be very much like, well, shit, where did all that momentum go? But it's absolutely not that. And what it is Mercury retrograde. Listen, I'm going to need you to scratch. It's a lower perspective of Mercury retrograde. Oh no, communication is terrible and I can't sign any documents and everything's going to shut down. It's going to get wonky. Yes, Mercury has a way in energetics of causing those effects. But if we step up, let's mature a little bit and go up a little bit in our vibrational understanding. Mercury in retrograde in Taurus is such a gift, because we need time. And here's a visual, right? I'm seeing it's like spring equinox resets the wheel. Saturn's shifting. Saturn's a slow mover, and him shifting from one sign into another is a big change. Okay, how did we mature? What level are we graduating to? What are we in the bounds of earning to work with now? Although we may, remember how I made references to the Minority Report, okay? We may be in our Pisces, in our Neptune, Pisces, Neptune ruled this energy of, I see all the cups now. You know what I mean? And maybe you're seeing a different grade of visions of cups, of possibility of creation, of vision, of things that you can really begin to anchor down in this timeline. But we are checkmating this with Saturn, saying, okay, but we need to understand, what can you sustain? What has your maturity earned for you to actually hold? Where is it? So we have this image. It is like, the way that I saw it, and this is what inspired some of these candles, is it was like the Fool had jumped through his activation portal, right? As we went through all these Aries energy, as we approached the eclipse season in the window. And now he's kind of suspended in flux. And if we overthink this energy, it's Taurus, and I feel so slow. Why are the gears cranking down? And they're not. The Fool doesn't understand, in quantum physics and energy and light and all these different things, right? He's really still moving, but he's catching, his timeline is catching up to his momentum. And Taurus, Mercury retrograde in Taurus and Taurus season incoming, is giving us time to ground down activations, to integrate them. Embodiment, is a great point of focus in earth signs, especially Taurus. Taurus, Venus ruled, very Venusian. Okay, now that I have received a lot through my crown, now that I have received a lot into my solar plexus, I need time to reintegrate. The Four of Swords in one-on-one work has come out a lot. The Hanged Man has been out in lots of readings, not only, but just the collective energy, lots of people that I follow and we work together. you know, we need time. We need time for when we shift in different dimensional versions of ourselves. It's like we need to kind of catch up, so we don't get warbly between the timeline shifts. I don't want to go too deep with that and cause confusion, but we are indeed still in the momentum of the Fool. And he has, in fact, jumped off the cliff. Whether you and I'm guessing we can kind of all see it pretty clearly. If you have a lot of water influence in your charts, though, I could maybe see that you might feel a little bit murky than most because of Saturn in Pisces. But we are in the Fool energy. We've taken the jump. And even if that's with our ancestors, our higher self, our spirit guides, you know, in energetic vibrational realms, we've jumped with them. There may be a little just lag time to catch up and integrate. So Mercury in Taurus, again, is a gift. It gives your mind, your mental perspective, time to adjust and catch up to messages you've received, to your mental inspiration, your spiritual inspiration. Your perception on your daily reality needs to catch up between the lag time. You know, a lot of incoming fire and spiritual inspiration, creative inspiration, growth, right? It's a beautiful gift, but we have to be able to integrate it within the bounds of this dimension so we can do something with it, right? Saturn in Pisces, you can kind of feel like, I don't know, and you feel free to let me know, but we may feel it's a little bit tricky with time. I need me, even on a personal note for myself, I feel like you know, you may say, what the fuck, where the hell did Monday go? What was I even doing on Monday? I remember there was one day, I don't know if it was this weekend or shit, I don't know. It may have been Monday. You see what I'm saying? But that's my brain on the regular. But it's kind of like time gaps. You may experience a little bit of loss of time or weird deja vu moments, and you're like, where did the last hour go? What was I doing for 2 hours? Or you may say, and I'm not necessarily talking about the thing where you laugh and you're like, oh shit, I forgot it was Tuesday. You know, I mean more so like you may literally find yourself, because we are in this flux, you know, and of course we have Pluto and Aquarius right now. So we've got death of different structures that I'm on a personal level, but of course, you can see how this is fleshing out social, cultural, you know, mainstream levels. You'll see that if you think about Pluto and Aquarius energy. But, you know, I like to bring it back to the self, to the micro, because as within will always be without. And so as long as we take responsibility on what's in our reality and what we can work on and what we can try to take control of and heal and, do within ourselves, you know, that will ripple out inevitably. So, and it's also really important right now to control your own perspective, to control your own narrative in your mind. And the more that you do your wound, you know, your healing work, your growth work, and execute plans on the things that you've been inspired to create, that you've been inspired to make tangible in these new timelines, the more you will, again, Saturn and Pisces, Pluto and Aquarius is going to be going on in the background. You know what? This is not working for your authenticity. It needs to be knocked out. You know, Uranus rules Aquarius. So sometimes if we're stubbornly holding on to a perspective, an old storyline, a reality, a personal relationship, however this fleshes out for you, Pluto and Aquarius will not let it stand. Pluto is the lord of underworld, of death and, you know, subconscious and lots of different things. So we got to go across the board and really just knock out what is not authentic, knock out what keeps us from realigning with our true north, the star. Right in the tarot is the Aquarius card. And so Pluto will be doing this work still. Again, I'm not going to delve into, you know, Pluto return in America and all these different things. We could do that in a whole different conversation. But again, let's focus. We're going to focus on self. Because sometimes if we take that scope out too wild, especially something like Saturn and Pisces, we're already warbling and juggling timelines. We've been given huge activations, so we need to catch up in real time, reintegrate, receive, you know, DNA healing, body healing, energetic upgrades, all these messages. This is what we're doing. Taurus is helping us, again, rest, recuperate in the mental energy. Mercury retrograde in Taurus. We need this right now. Because it is really important in a huge flux of social, again, cultural, political, all these things that you will see unfolding. The perspective is so important. And in order to nurture and really root and ground down to, I know some crazy shit might be popping off, but I know exactly what I'm chopping wood and carrying water over here. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm building. I know what I was told. I know the keys. I know the inheritance that I was given. So when we all begin to collectively anchor that down, we shift the perspective and the fear mongering, the attachments of lower vibrational entities, and all of these different things that kind of want to feed and stoke on, oh man, we got to pull them back down into fear. When you root back into the self, you help us all regain control of that narrative and where our attention goes, our energy flows. So all of these are good reasons that Mercury retrograde in Taurus is so helpful to us, that Taurus season could not be better timed while we sit in this pocket between these two bookends. As we approach, our lunar eclipse, as we approach the nodes getting ready to shift, our nodes are going to be shifting from Taurus and Scorpio to Aries, and now my mind is blanking, but we're in preparation. We want to remind ourselves right now, Mercury retrograde in Taurus season, chop wood, carry water, focus on your money, your energy. Where are things being spent? Of course, money is just a concept of exchange of time and energy and these things, right? But where do you spend? Whether this is attention, whether this is literal Taurus money dollars, okay, because a Taurus will get you together on your money. Saving and, recalculate, reevaluating the plan. Where am I putting my energy? Maybe with these activations, with these shifts in the perception of the reality that I now want to call in, that I want to make sure I'm sustainable for. Have I matured enough to really see this? Did I pass the test and learn my lessons? That's that Saturn energy. I'm saying, yeah, it's really super cool, right? Oh my gosh, I can see like 6 dimensions now of different timelines. I can be anything. All right, that's cool. But we still need to look at your credentials. We still need to look at your discipline. We still need to look, are you in bounds? Are you out of bounds? And Mars being in Cancer until, sometime in May, is having us explore territories in our emotions that we still need to crack into and kind of light up a little bit. But, Taurus season is a great gift. And Mercury retrograde in Taurus wants our mental energy to calm down, to recenter, to refocus. And again, maybe you were really invested in something a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever. And now you're kind of saying, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go back and reevaluate that. We're reevaluating, where am I putting my energy, my attention, my time? When we spend even down to $1, we've already spent energy and time in that. Do you know what I'm saying? So absolutely investing. I'm looking at investments of money, paying attention to your money, being very prudent, really evaluating where is this going? Where is that going? I need to tighten up. I need to save. I need to be mindful. Mercury retrograde in Taurus, you'll always have a vibe of like, hey, what's the plan? We're going to take this plan all the way out, right? So we want to understand it's not, dang, where did all the momentum go? It's still there, but it's like condensing and grounding down. It's like a big oak tree trying to take in all the influx of sunlight, do all the oak tree leaf, environmental scientific things to help the tree integrate all of that sunlight. It's got to go through the whole tree. All the different parts of the tree have to do what they got to do with it. And then growth can occur. So I would encourage you to really embrace Taurus season. Yes, it is a traditional thing where everybody kind of, abruptly anticipates, all right, you guys, oh, Mercury is going in retrograde. But I always encourage people, especially in one-on-one work, look at this differently. Your perspective and your level of maturity that you can grow in your understanding of the energy, in your understanding of the astrology, the planets, or tarot, or whatever, is your method that you glean wisdom and self-reflect and kind of reorient yourself back to your true north, so to speak, right? Lean on those, and but encouraging you to just kind of grow in maturity of your understanding of some of those concepts, right? Saturn and Pisces. But I would say that in one-on-one work, what we talk about a lot is Mercury retrograde is a gift. If someone is not calling you back, it's not meant to be. If your computer shut down twice in the meeting, you weren't meant to be in the meeting. If you know what I'm saying? If you set up the date 2-3 times and it just didn't pan out, don't go chasing that Mercury retrograde. No, but that's your higher self, your ancestors and guides, the divine source energy. Sometimes it's like following a GPS. And the GPS will say, I know you can't see the car accident up here. So what we're going to do is reroute you, but you're going to have to trust us. And then you're like, why am I going this way? And then the GPS is like, hey, remember I told you, okay, now you see there's an accident, but I saw it before you could, right? Higher self is guiding your avatar and saying, listen, there's a reason they're not calling you back. There's a reason the contract fell through twice when you got ready to sign it. Okay, so it's not so much about adopting and then kind of reverse manifesting this, because that's what happens. You don't have to, well, you can do whatever you choose. I would always advise you. You are your highest teacher, your best guru. Your inner intuition, is what you need to follow. But perspective will affect that. If you think Mercury retrograde is just some terrible thing and it's going to smack you down and, well, nothing ever works and I forget my keys and I have 3 chargers and I can't find any of them and then I can't get meetings done. The communication is so wonky, but these are all in divine accordance with. That's because you're not supposed to be talking to them. Okay, but if you never rerouted around that accident and was 15 minutes late for work, remember how you saw the crow twice and then you Googled and then you were reading about crow spirit and you had this revelation? We needed you to see that. Okay, remember how you couldn't sign the contract? Well, there's a reason for that, because you don't understand that contract is going to fuck you 2 years later. Excuse my language. I'm just channeling, but you understand what I'm saying. There was a divine reason that you could not sign that contract at the time. And sometimes Mercury retrogrades, especially in a sign like Taurus, where we want to be grounded, where we want to be resting, we want to be integrated. Maybe you needed to be out sick twice because you needed to be at home in your sacred space, what would I say? Maybe you didn't get the bonus and sign on for another year or maybe you were let go because Spirit is saying, your higher self is saying, you have no idea of the opportunity a year later. I need you to operate in trust. You need to be at home, reorienting yourself, establishing new spiritual mental practices, doing some healing, because this opportunity up here that's going to come in a year is going to blow your mind, but we need you to be prepared for it. So these are the type of things that we have going on with Mercury in retrograde. There are reasons that there are divine blockages, because your mental, your perspective, the spiritual, the messages that you need to receive through your crown, and integrate. Maybe your home, which is your safe place, very Taurus. Think of Queen of Pentacles energy, maybe your sacred spaces, and they're all different. We all do sacred space in different ways all the time. It is just, an altar, could be anything. It could be a person who goes out on their patio and tends to their plants in the same way, and they put the stone here, and it has to be just so. That's an altar. I love to keep these candles and these gemstones by my bathtub, or, I set up my kitchen just so every time I put this vase of flowers. And this is very Taurus Venusian energy, and these are ways that we nurture our sacred space. Again, I'll reiterate, chop wood, carry water, establishing solid mental health, spiritual hygiene routines. And again, paying attention to routine, looking at where you spend energetically with your attention in your home space. Again, you might feel kind of like another little wave of mid-spring cleaning, right? And okay, you know what, these things need to go. And maybe some of these things I can give away. We're tightening up. We're still reorienting. And a lot of these energies in mindfulness practices really are clearing energetic blockages as well. And rituals are beautiful, but these are also daily rituals, and they free up blockages. Again, the crown, the third eye, the solar plexus, Taurus Venusian heart energy, that's your heart chakra. So these mindfulness, chop wood, carry water, where do I spend money, attention, time, focus? What plans do I need to return to maybe scratch it off the table because I know it's not good for me anymore? And I think Mercury retrograde in Taurus, as we're able to integrate a lot of these activations, we will find that pathways forward will seem more naturally organized, more naturally cleared. Because, it's logical thought. If you're holding on to 10 things, you cannot do all 10 things. We're in 3D bodies. We're not going to change. At least we haven't figured out how to yet. I mean, hold on. But there's only so much time in a day, so to speak. Let's not get too Saturn and Pisces are like, what is time? Because we don't want to get too wonky. Again, we're already trying to integrate a lot of timeline jumping and kind of catch up to our 5D selves, if you will. So these mindfulness techniques are very important so that we can clear. You want to turn 10, 15 excessive things that are never going to get complete and won't have any quality into about maybe 3 or 4 solid things. And you can nail them down. And you can think through them enough with clarity of mind to have a plan. And then again, Saturn will teach you, these are the laws, these are the bounds you can play in right now. And these are shifting very fast because of solar flares, the way the planets are moving, a lot of this energy. You'll see yourself integrating these cycles, if you're willing to do the work, much, much quicker, much, much quicker. So I love the Taurus energy for us. I embrace it. I personally need it. I have hardly any earth at all in my own personal chart. So it helps me, plants in your home is a great thing if you can do that. If not, and it's always a good time to go out into nature, earthing, putting your feet down, asking your ancestors, your higher self and guides, to help you ground down what it is that you've received. And we talk about activations, right? People are like, whoa, activations, And we're in this culture now. We're in this fast-paced, immediate. I get a DM, I get an email, everything's immediate. We expect an activation to just drop into our consciousness like an email, because we are, that is how we see things in our sort of warped understanding of time. And it's just not so. Sometimes it can be, but sometimes it's not even healthy for us to integrate things that way because we just been ready. It's like being in the Matrix and they drop a whole book of Kung Fu into your mind, but you still gotta, you can't, even though you have the activation in your mind and your spirit, doesn't mean you're gonna just, what is it in the scene? And like Neo is still getting his ass kicked because even though he downloaded his moves, he still has to figure out how to catch up in his body time. I think that's actually a great representation, too, if you think about that movie, the way that I was seeing the Fool catch up in real time to everything that had been activated. And so in a lot of one-on-one work with the natal charts, with the readings, it's like, what is activation? Well, activation looks different for all of us. Activation may be, I understand that this person can't be in my life anymore. You know, and activation may play out in the way that you have clarity on a spiritual concept, or an emotional concept clicks into place and you understand, oh my gosh, I've still been living in that old story line and now it's wiped out. It's time to go. You know, I realize that I absolutely am supposed to take this new course. I understand. And some of these may be I hate to say trickle down effect. You're like, oh gosh. No, the trickle down effect of a big activation maybe, and you received through your soul star chakra, which came down into your crown. Maybe you heard clearly just a message and you put together 4 synchronicities and you just had a whoa moment, right? You could even maybe call this like a Neo moment, where the Matrix was like, whoa, for a minute. Okay, but that doesn't mean the very next day you're going to wake up and it's going to be like, I understand 4 languages, and then I'm immediately going to pack up all my things, and I'm going to move, and then I'm going to, it doesn't unfold this way. And it's not wise. It's not energetically healthy, as we are in these human bodies, for it to unfold one day. And sometimes we have sensual 5D experiences. We have rest. We need integration. We need to have the trail of breadcrumbs kind of unfold, because that's part of our pleasure of experience being a human as well. You know, so it's such a great time right now to get grounded, to be reminded of ultimately, when I had that epiphany moment, I understood something maybe about abundance, or I understood something maybe about why I felt depressed for a year, or I've understood something about why that relationship I was in for 20 years, what it taught me. And maybe that does happen in a blink of an instant, or it really doesn't. It's a compilation, but there's just a moment. Do you know what I'm saying? Where you have irrevocable clarity. But we still need time to work on the integration of it. So be patient with yourselves. You know, it makes me think of my own work this morning, where I pulled the Death card reversed. You know, I pulled the 6 of Swords and the 9 of Wands, and it was just this big message about continue being resilient, because you're traversing into a whole new mental space, into a whole new spiritual space of rebirth. And you have to kind of be resilient and patient with yourselves while you go through that process. And simplification is great. Anytime we're able to clear out, we signal to the universe, hey, there's an empty space. I'm ready to fill it with new and evolved things in my life. So I do love this energy for us so much. I think I'm going to update my website, you guys, and I really want to focus on the nodes shifting and looking at people's charts and working with them on their north and south node placements. You know, I really want to, there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of work that Uranus and Taurus did together, even going all the way back to 2019 up until present time. And those are great points to look at in your chart to kind of understand your evolution. And maybe reflecting a couple years ago, what was I going through that was, okay, Uranus energy, that felt like it was smacking me in the face from behind. I never saw it coming. Because I can relate. Woo, child. 2020, 2021, even going on out through last year. You know, it was kind of that vibration of, wow, thanks, universe. I'm working really hard to integrate on how you keep smacking me from behind with this shit. And, you know, it was a lot of those moments in a compilation, right? And it was very interesting the way that we had these conjunctions and we had these different things going on with Uranus and Taurus. I think there's a lot of wisdom to be found as Taurus is going to start coming in and doing some interesting things. Mercury will retrograde in Taurus now. later in the fall, the second half of the year. Jupiter will also retrograde in Taurus and kind of expound upon some of the things that we are anchoring and rooting down into now. So that's very fascinating. I'll try to find a better way to kind of summarize it and share that on my website as an offering. I've been doing a lot of tarot one-on-one work with people, balancing and clearing, messages for the solar plexus and the crown chakras. And so that energy has been very interesting to work on. Again, it's very much like we gave you lots of keys. You've received energetic, spiritual, emotional inheritance, so to speak. And now we want you to integrate so that you can bring it down in a tangible way. So I love that for us. Rider-Waite is being quiet, so maybe Spirit wanted us to just have an astrology chat with each other. You know, he's normally, if anyone does one-on-one work with me, they know that Rider, he's a ride or die, and he will throw the cards out when he's got something to say. So it's kind of very fascinating, but it's fitting. It's fitting for Mercury retrograde in Taurus, because you know what? It's a big energy of let your mind be quiet. Let the waters kind of still so that you can catch up to yourself. Sometimes in a way we get very, when we get in a lit season, you know, like I was saying before, you can almost get addicted to that. And that's the shadow side, to find balance from. It's like, hey, everything is not gas on gas on gas on gas on gas all the time. And it's not healthy, because you can very quickly swing into like a shadow side of Jupiter in Aries, and you want to expand on expanding while you expand on the expansion. And then your human mind is like, dude, hold on. It's like when Spirit's trying to channel to you, you know, to someone, and you're like, hold on, Spirit, whoa, 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 whoa. It does happen. And so it's almost like trying to catch a bunch of candy when you whack a piñata open and you're so greedy trying to get all the candy, you end up with none, and because you wanted too much. You get what I'm saying? So you know what I think I will do? I'm feeling really drawn to, you know how I feel about my sacred geometry deck. I think I'll close this message with a card from the sacred geometry. Do I have the book though? Hold on, guys. Actually don't have the book. Shout out to all my Taurus people. I bet y'all are feeling like bomb right now. Love that for y'all. Love that for the earth signs. I think sometimes the air and the fire signs are like, whoa, who shut the gears off? We were full speed ahead. But we all need it, you know? Okay, let me grab this book, you guys, and then we'll pull a card and we'll wrap it. I will say, Saturn in Pisces is going to be there for a while. I would encourage you to work with water still in your ritual space. Bath rituals are still wonderful. Really charging and loving on your water, using your stones. Please check out what stones are water safe. Do your work there. Herbs that are elements of water will be wonderful to help you kind of, you know, relax and ebb and flow. And then, of course, you know, with Taurus season, any grounding elements, water with earth right now may help you feel really calm, especially if you're an air or fire sign and you're struggling a little bit, because it feels like somebody downshifted you. But again, remember, we are not actually going any slower. We are actually still moving very, very quickly in a sense of time, but it's like we've got to catch up to ourselves, you know, so it's all right. You know, deep breathing, breath work right now is going to be wonderful. Okay. What else was I thinking? Oh, yes, we also will still have Chiron, the wounded healer, in Aries for quite some time. So, you know, we are still being called to be very courageous and very passionate about working on the healing. I was sharing a message and having a conversation with someone the other day to the effect of, The more that you work on, it's like in training, right? If you know you hate weightlifting or you know you hate running, you train harder because then you understand your weakness and it's not going to be used against you. You're not going to use it against yourself. So we still want to do our wound healing. We want to do our root work, our shadow work. If you're ever interested, and we do a reading together, you know, North and South nodes are a great place to look. Your Chiron placement, your own birth chart, those are great pointers to unpack the healing and the wound work, kind of the thorn in the side you've been given, or you signed up and agreed to take on this lifetime, right? Having understanding of those may help you in working with your inner child, working through trauma, and just working on having an awareness of those weaknesses. And that way, no lower vibrational entities, no one that would seek to manipulate you. And sometimes we even manipulate our own selves through our wounds and our old stories of ourselves. So still encouraging you, as I always will anyway, to do the wound healing work. But you have received the activations. You have received so much. Don't feel like just because it's kind of a gear down that you're like, well, did I misunderstand all that energy? Absolutely not. We just need some mental peace. We need a little bit of, we don't want to do a burnout. We need to stop, reevaluate, again, do some planning, reorient our energy, make sure we're being wise. Okay, so let's draw a card. I've already shuffled. Spirit is saying cut the deck, so we'll do that. So what do we have here? And this, again, is the Sacred Geometry cards by Francine Hart. I love these. So we have Spirit Kin. This is fascinating because for the Aries astrology offering on my website for most of March, or the end of March, I use this picture. So it's kind of funny that we would pull this card when we were talking about all this Taurus energy. Spirit Kin, number 39. All right, let's check it out. I love that card. I have a Sekhmet tattoo, so that card really resonates with me. I do also have a lot of fire in my chart, so I feel that card anyway. All right, here we go. No, I'm just kidding. I totally looked up the wrong number. Mercury Retrograde. Okay. All right. Spirit Kin, courage and transformation. The shaman dances and drums around a fire and has called in the energy of his spirit kin. Mountain lion, also called puma or cougar, speaks of strength, courage, and transformation. Golden spirals kindle this fiery energy. We here call upon this magnificent spirit kin to demonstrate the gift of courage, which is very much still Jupiter in Aries and Chiron in Aries, very much still present. Courage enters your life in many different ways. It is fearlessly standing up for what you believe to be true. Courage is being confident in your discernment and the ability to speak from your heart. It is trusting that the universe is on your side, guiding and protecting you. Courage is the strength that comes from within. It is being who you truly are, without fear or judgment of yourself or others. It is speaking out when you believe strongly for or against something. It is the power to transform fear into love and to bravely follow your own visionary path. Courage is transformational. Transformation is courageous. Trust your ability to call in the transformation that your vision requires. Find the courage within yourself to express your gifts and have confidence in knowing you can make a real difference in the world. Lovely. I love it. Perfect card to wrap on. You guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of the week. Please practice self-love. Please be good to yourself. Slow down. Allow that mental and spiritual integration. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon.